It's the Boston Celtics going up against the Toronto Raptors. I'll be here in the studio for the halftime show.
Well, we can finally say it. The NBA regular season is about to get underway. And here at 2K Sports, we couldn't be happier. Hi, everyone. This is Kevin Harlan. Joining me in the booth, as always, Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr. What an exciting game opening night in the NBA. Let's check out the starting lineups. First for the Celtics, speedy backcourt of Rondo and Bradley. And it's Kelly Olynyk out of Gonzaga, a 7-footer with inside-outside offensive skills. In the middle at center, a big game for this young man making his NBA debut. And there's Green, and it's Bass in at the 4. And looking at the Raptors, Lowry and DeRozan, they're the backcourt. And in at the center position, a terrific finisher from the 2005 draft class, Amir Johnson. Then there's Rudy Gay, and it's Hansbrough in at the 4 spot.
You know, you think of what a typical Eastern Conference team plays like, and you often think of the Celtics. I mean, they like to slow it up. They'll play hard D and take their fouls when they can. Still, the Celtics last year were just average when it came to playing the rest of the conference.
It'll be the Raptors off the tip. Lowry with the ball. He's picked up by Rondo. Hansbrough with the ball. Rudy Gay on the wing. Knocked loose. It's stolen by Bass. And it's Rondo. And that one is hammered home. Savage. That's the way to get some momentum on your side.
Absolutely. Those dunks can really have a deflating effect on the defense.
Especially coming from a guy out of the backcourt.
Boston on D. Well, and back to the Celtics, even as you said, Clark, they do all the things most Eastern Conference teams do well. They just couldn't keep it together, Steve, to finish far above 500 in the East.
Well, losing Rondo was a huge part of it, as they had to adjust their entire offense midway through the season. And I think a lot of it, too, is the rest of the East has caught up to them, and time is finally catching up to them.
And here's Rondo, following Kyle Lowry's 3. Rondo kicks to Bass. Johnson up top. Back to Lowry. It's stolen by Green. It's stolen by Johnson. Oh, and here comes Johnson all alone. Hammers it down off the coast-to-coast plate.
Terrible transition defense there.
I think it would have been pointless, Steve. There was no way anybody was beating him to the basket there.
Bradley dishes to Olynyk. Rondo. Passes it to Bass. And it's good, coming on the assist by Rajon Rondo. Bass has got his first points of the night. Here's Lowry.
Before his injury last season, it was quite clear that while the rest of the Celtics bunch could still hold their own, this would no doubt be Rondo's team moving forward.
And guys, let's get your take on the hustle stats for Boston.
Well, I think the defensive aggressiveness on display here has caught him off guard, playing airtight defense and coming up with the steal.
Well, the other thing I like is defensively they're causing turnovers, and that's allowing them to get into transition.
And for Rondo and the Celtics, it actually explored trading him in the past. You always heard the rumors he butted heads with Doc Rivers, and they wondered if he was too individualistic. But now they hand him the keys.
Well, he's a tremendous player, Rondo, and a guy who can take over a game. And there have been times when he's been a little moody. We've seen him bump officials. He's gotten suspended. He's gotten into little tiffs with teammates. But I kind of like that feistiness, too, as long as it's channeled in the right way.
Now here's DeRozan. After the miss from Bass. It's Gay with the drive. And the basket good.
Red hot right out of the gates. 4 for 4 shooting.
Celtics trail by 3. Rondo kicks to Bradley. Hits the three-point bomb. Bradley's got himself on the board with 3 there.
And, you know, for Raptors coach Dwayne Casey from last season, he's wanted to improve the rim protection inside. Now with a little more size, you add Valanciunas, and hopefully the pieces are in place for Casey to build a winning team in Toronto.
First miss of the game after 4 makes, so it's been a hot start.
First quarter of action, just under 3.5 minutes played. Rondo. There's the 3, and it's Bradley. That time on the assist by Rondo. Rondo's got 3 assists tonight. And when you look at this Raptors team, they have size and athleticism, Steve, certainly capable of defending well.
Yeah, they do have the talent to be good defensively. Some length on the perimeter. I think Valanciunas is an interesting player with defensive capability. So this is a club that has the potential to be pretty good at that end of the floor.
The Celtics have gotten only 1 of their first 6 shots to fall today. And I think Doris Burke has something for us right now. Doris?
Kevin, here's what the Celtics head coach had to say when we spoke just a few minutes ago. He said a big part of their focus defensively will be on trying to contain Rudy Gay, adding he presents some challenges because he can shoot over the top, and also he's a tremendous finisher inside. We've got to force him to that left hand, but I'm hoping we won't have to double too much because they have plenty of other guys who can knock it down. Kevin, the challenges are full.
And thanks for that story, Doris. And he lobs it up toward the rim, and it's Green with the jam.
Phenomenal alley-oop slam right there, guys.
They're taking advantage, Clark, of a team that looks lost out there.
Yeah, this is threatening to get kind of ugly out here.
Now, here is Lowry. He has 7. Back to Gay. Gay gets a screen from Hansbrough. He used that pick just right. Gay's got his 2nd bucket tonight.
You know, the defense didn't exactly try to fight around that screen, and that's why it turned into the easy basket.
Rondo against Lowry. Olynyk the pass to Green. And the Celtics hit again from deep.
Well, he's a spot-up shooter, one of the best. One of those guys who, if you give him an inch, I mean, that's all it takes. He will let it fly and frequently knock down that shot.
And another specialty of his is the 3-ball from the corner. That's his signature shot. It is so hard to contain it. He just seems to get it done however he has to do it.
Rondo dishes to Green. Outside Bradley. He feeds it to Rondo. Puts up a 3. And again, Boston with the triple.
That's far too good a look to give them from behind the arc.
Well, that's 3 of the last 5 makes, having been behind the 3-point line. So, got to make some adjustments defensively.
Johnson, good.
You know, they've scored several times already here in the first quarter down low. I like that.
Yeah, me too, Clark. I think anytime you have success pounding the ball inside, you got to continue to go to the well.
So the Celtics called timeout, their first. This, of course, their first chance to take a look at this year's Toronto squad.
And looking back to last year, they won this season's series, as you'd probably expect. Here we can check out the story on Rudy Gay. Very nice season for him last year. 16th in scoring, and he was also among the league leaders in steals, finishing in the top 20 in that category.
And you know, Steve, as you said, he showed tremendous scoring ability last season. I mean, he really deserved this spot as a top 20 scorer in points per game.
Celtics leading by 5. To touch again on Steve's comment, last year they were a playoff team facing a team that went home at the end of the regular season, and Clark, they took advantage.
Yeah, that to me is what makes a playoff team, Kevin. I mean, beating the teams you should beat and then not having any significant letdown.
Just 5 to shoot. Rondo kicks to Bass, and he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
A bit of a down season, guys, for Brandon Bass on this past season. His numbers were down pretty much across the board. At 28 years old, he should be in his prime. We'll see how he bounces back this season.
And he knocks down the first one. And Bass, Steve, a face-up 4. He likes to play in the high post.
Yeah, he likes to kind of face up and either hit that mid-range jumper or drive around you. But I think the best improvement from Bass came at the defensive end of the floor. Doc Rivers really showing praise last year during the playoffs for Bass's defensive improvement. Well, you kind of expect that from him. You pretty much know what the result's going to be when he goes to the line.
Here's DeRozan. No scoring yet from him, but that's likely to change. Lowry from outside. They get it back. A second chance effort, and the layup is up and in.
If you battle for the offensive rebound and come up with it, you're guaranteed a high-quality shot on a follow just like he got there.
Back to Rondo. Olynyk sets a screen for Rondo. And there's the whistle. Fouled hard on the shot. He'll go to the line.
You know, there aren't too many drive and dish point guards out there anymore, but Rondo is the epitome of that type of guard in the NBA. He is always looking to make a move and create space for a teammate, and his assist totals reflect that.
The free throw drops for Rondo. Well, Clark, you talked about Rondo's playmaking. I think Steve and I agree. He's led the league in assists per game the last 2 seasons in that very important category, Steve, and I think that speaks volumes.
It's pretty incredible what Rondo has been able to accomplish in the NBA. Fell to late in the first round to the Celtics back in his draft class, but here he is developing into one of the top point guards in the league.
Hey, guys, you know, the Raptors were at the bottom of the Atlantic Division once again this past season, but the silver lining there is that they seem to be improved as a team. The problem is the rest of the division improved right along with them.
Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give them 2 chances at the free throw line here. The Raptors shooting their first shots from the free throw line tonight.
At the line for 2.
A free throw drops for Hansbrough. Well, the Raptors, the bottom of the Atlantic with the record of 5-11 against the rest of that division. They'll need to do better than that to climb out of the cellar this season.
Well, it's going to take a lot. Raptors won 34 games last year, but they still found themselves struggling to win games in the Atlantic. It is a good division, but they can make improvement. There's plenty of talent there, and I think that's going to be one of the keys this year, how well they play against teams in the Atlantic.
Well, no team likes to have their first-round pick belong to another team. It gets worse when you're a lottery team yourself and you're trying to build your talent base up. But the Raptors' number 12 pick in this summer's draft went to one of the elite teams in Oklahoma City.
Raptors trail by 5. Lowry passes to DeRozan. That falls. Nice feed that time from Kyle Lowry. DeRozan's got his first basket.
Great move to the hoop, and I love the finger roll finish.
Outside Rondo. Back to Green. Tries it from 19. Good. He hits the jump shot. Green's got his 3rd bucket of the night. Well, Clark, as you said, the Thunder got the Raptors' first selection this last year. Only the way the Raptors would have been able to hang on to it was, Steve, if they jumped up to the top 3 in the lottery.
And as bad as it might seem for the Raptors to have not had a first, I mean, and it is bad, it was as good as any other time for them to not have a first-round pick because the draft wasn't deep. The Raptors have a lot of young talent already and that they can make improvement with.
Jeff Green, drafted out of Georgetown by the Celtics back in 2007. Actually never played a game for them. Was traded to Seattle in exchange for Ray Allen. But in 2011, Boston reacquired him in exchange for Kendrick Perkins. So it's come full circle for the young man, and I think he's starting to find his groove as an NBA player.
That free throw, no good. And for Jeff Green in Seattle, then Oklahoma City playing alongside Kevin Durant. Green, Steve, ended up at the power forward position, and I thought he was thriving with Boston.
Yeah, I like that position for him, actually, because when you put him at the small forward, offensively, he's limited. You put him at the 4, now he can drive right around his man and use his speed and quickness. But defensively, he can guard pretty much anybody out there size-wise.
And he's good on the second.
Well, you know, last season I think officially brought the immediate championship aspirations of the Celtics to a close. The 7th seed in the East, dispatched in the first round by the Knicks. The rebuild was on in full cycle.
It's Fields outside. A putback. And Jared Sullinger pulls it down. Celtics leading by 6. Rondo dishes to Sullinger. No good. So the Raptors will take it the other way. And back to the Celtics, making the playoffs, sure, but, you know, not like Steve back in 08 or 2010.
Well, this has been a phenomenal era with KG and Pierce that is now a thing of the past. But look, they've hoisted a championship banner very close to another, but it's just time to move on. And that's just the way it is in the NBA. These things go in waves, and the Celtics now in rebuilding mode.
And here's Lee after the three-pointer from Augustine. And Lee with the stuff.
Well, I tell you what, it was the good pick that was set that turned him loose.
And once he got around it, Steve, it was smooth sailing right to the hole.
Well, because of the pick, he had plenty of room. That's why he was able to power down that slam.
Outside, Fields. And good. Coming in on the assist by DJ Augustine.
Back-to-back threes for him. The defense is slacking off a little.
It does look like their energy is lacking at this point.
Lee kicks to Rondo. Poked away. Fields with the steal. And even 3-on-3 break. Augustine off the pick from Valanciunas. Now the pass to Fields. And no good. Had a chance to take the lead. The Celtics with the lead. There's 1:54 left to play in the first quarter. Out to Wallace. Lets it go. Blocked. And here we go. Richardson heading to the hoop. Rips down the breakaway slam.
Yeah, he put himself in great position to finish that break off, guys.
Yep, right to the rack.
There's 1:38 left in the first quarter of the game. Now here's Rondo. He's got 10. Sullinger with a screen for Rondo. Sullinger defended by Valanciunas. Boston again missing.
Tell you what, they haven't wasted any time getting into the swing of things on the boards.
Yeah, and even though it's early, I mean, that's a great sign for them for the rest of the game.
Now here is Augustine. He dishes it to Fields. 6 to shoot. AC. Toronto working the ball around now. DJ Augustine, that's good. And now a 3-point Raptor lead.
I don't know how they're going to keep this pace up. Both teams on fire here early.
And playing the game on rollerblades, too. Well, let's take a look at where Boston ended up, Kevin, last year in the league rankings. They were 6th in field goal percentage, 6th in free throw percentage, and they were in the top half of the league in steals as well. Pretty impressive.
And you talked about the shooting in the top 10 in the league in terms of field goal percentage. And that really bodes well when you're a team that's trying to play together. I thought this team was really well coached. They worked the ball offensively to find good shots. And for most of the season, they looked like one of the best shooting teams in the league to me.
Crawford, no luck. Raptors leading by 3. Fields with it. Now defended by Humphries. Crawford against Augustine. Pass to Fields. And there's the feed to Richardson. Good D by Lee.
That's really too easy a chance to miss, guys. He needs to be more aggressive and focused on his finishes.
Crawford passes to Sullinger. Good.
There it is again. On a lot of their possessions this first half, they've established great position inside.
Yeah, getting the ball into the post should be their first option every time down. Force the defense to adapt and adjust.
Richardson kicks to Augustine. Richardson with the screen on Crawford. Augustine dishes to Fields. Poked loose. Both teams have it going here early and still close through the first quarter. Raptors lead by 1.